and welcome to Sport Wrestling. My name is Michael Henson, and today I am delighted to say we are joined by the limitless Keith Lee, the current NXT Champion. Keith, how are you today?
Greetings and salutations, good sir. I'm quite lovely. How are you?
Good, I'm very good, thanks. First question, can you take us through your historic achievement and how you found out you're going to be champ in NXT?
Well, there was the circumstance of me just as far back standing in front of the Undisputed Era and telling them I was deciding which championship I would take first, which clearly led to me winning the North American Championship. And honestly, there was more of a big separation after that. Kind of led to some other matches with bigger guys like Dijakovic and Priest, and went on down the line, and then somehow we reconnected everything. It ended up being so much more than I anticipated. As obviously I had not lost my championship, and Cole was still holding his championship. It's just happenstance, man, and it turned into a match style that I didn't expect, because I wasn't expecting a winner take all circumstance at all. And then, lo and behold, I managed to beat the guy, and there was no Undisputed Era. There was no... One would expect shenanigans, and there was zero. It was just a straight up and down competition, which is like my lifeblood when it comes to professional wrestling. And I managed to beat the guy, and just major competition. It's a proud moment, very proud moment.
Of course, you've been around in wrestling for quite a while now, but you made quite a big splash in WWE when you were part of the NXT Survivor Series team back in November 2019. Can you talk about working with stars like Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and the crowd reaction to you versus Roman as the final two of that match?
I think working with those guys is something that felt very natural for me. I felt fairly calm, but intense. I felt a little bit of danger because, obviously Roman and Seth have history together, and they kind of put that on display when it was the three of us left. But the moment that I eliminated Seth, it was such a massive moment once that happened, and there became the recognition. It's just these two guys that have never been in the ring together before, and from two different worlds. And for lack of better terminology, I would call that magic, man. I think that myself, as well as everyone and the people in the back, more so than myself, were probably unexpected in terms of the crowd response to me. I don't think they knew what to expect, but I don't think they expected what occurred. In any major circumstance that I've been in, I don't think that they really truly understand with the WWE universe, and I'm okay with that. I think that's something special for me and them.
Then we're fast forwarding it to January this year, 2020, and you've got the Royal Rumble coming about. And there's this amazing moment where it's just you and Brock Lesnar in the ring. Everyone in that stadium's going absolutely mental. Twitter's blowing up. Can you tell us about working with Brock? Because I believe that him and Paul Heyman handpicked his opponents for the Royal Rumble.
Brock's somebody that he probably doesn't know it, but I've looked up to him since he debuted way back in the early 2000s. And someone that I've studied in terms of like movement, training style, just in terms of throwing human beings for a living. I relate a lot to him, I feel. And I think that moment was something even more special than I realized at that time. And I think that it is something that has kind of ingrained itself in the universe, the fans as a whole, because We're in July, and people are still talking about this moment that was basically just us standing there. And I think that that's kind of a situation where the power of the moment itself and the two people in the ring tells a story on its own. So working with him, to say the least, was an honor, especially since I didn't know. I didn't find out I was even in the Rumble until a couple hours before the Rumble. So, yeah, you don't really know. I just kind of got dressed and seen what was going to happen. Noticed my number was what it was, and realized that that guy was still in the ring. So it was going to be a thing where it's just like, okay, I need to go out there ready to fight. But when I got out there, the entire atmosphere of that whole dome changed. And I don't think that WWE expected 42,000 people to be all in on Keith Lee standing in the ring with Brock Lesnar. But I think that it's kind of shown them that I'm a tad different than anything they've had before. So it was very special. Very special.
And then after the Royal Rumble, did you have any interactions with Brock or Paul Heyman?
No, not at all. A matter of fact, that happened, and then that was it. I had to do backstage about, an opportunity that has passed, and I think I was so fired up. I mentioned like wanting to be number one next year or something. I don't remember what I said, but I did that interview, and I went and got showered, changed, and then I had to find my ride, and I got lost, and there was all sorts of things going on. So I had to get back to my hotel. So I didn't actually talk to anybody after that, except for the interview people. So that was it.
Now it's time for our Simply the Best feature with questions revolving all around the word best. So we're going to start with, who is the best male wrestler in the world now?
Ooh. Oh, that's difficult. It might be AJ Styles, man. The guy is just, in terms of versatility and being able to have just a ridiculous match with anyone, anywhere, at any given point in time. I don't know if there's a more capable guy in putting something out there that's just like will make you sit on the edge of your seat. He's brilliant.
Who is the best female wrestler in the world right now?
I'm going to give that to Asuka. Same situation, supremely versatile. She's just fluid like water in the ring, and I love watching her movement, the way she reacts to things, whether it's defensive or offensive. She's just, to me, she's an absolute monster in the ring, and I love watching her fight.
What's the best match that you've been in?
Probably me versus Kovic at TakeOver Portland, and that was I think that two guys knowing that it takes a lot to put either of us away. But there's also a manner of respect, a matter of wanting to make a statement for who we are and what we feel we are worth. And I think that TakeOver Portland made a lot of statements in terms of all of those subjects.
What's the best match that you've ever watched as a fan?
That's difficult. I'm gonna go with, this is the first thing that comes to mind. I'm gonna go with Shawn Michaels. I believe it was WrestleMania 21. And goodness gracious, you want to talk about a wrestling clinic from the beginning with the story of the match. To me personally, was the fact that Shawn Michaels was out wrestling this Olympic wrestler in the beginning and frustrated him to where this Olympic wrestler needed to lose his mind in order to turn the tides. But then it became this back and forth brawl, and Shawn got reckless with the diving and the German attempt where they're both hanging on for dear life. It's just a lot of story, a lot of drama, a lot of moments.
What is the best stadium or arena that you've wrestled in?
No, I mean, Royal Rumble in Houston, man. Just, I guess I can't really call that wrestling because I just went out there and fought, but just the intensity of that was the biggest crowd I've been in front of, and it was awesome, like absolutely awesome.
Who is the best wrestler you've had a match against?
It might be Adam Cole right now. It might be Adam Cole. The guy is very different for being a smaller guy, but he's an extremely smart wrestler, intelligent, ring savvy, very aware of everything going on and just adjusts and adapts to everything. He reminds me of myself, but in smaller form. So the way that he adapts is different, but a very adaptive wrestler.
Who is the best wrestler you've never had a match against?
Kurt Angle, Cesaro, Rock, Roman, all the guys that haven't happened with one-on-one, all of them.
What has been the best moment of your career to date?
Winning both championships, without a doubt. And yeah, you can say, one-on-one with Roman at the end of Survivor Series is definitely an awesome moment. One-on-one with Brock Lesnar in the Rumble, very awesome moment. And both of them had the audience, which makes them really special. And it's still my own personal accomplishment of winning 2 championships in a winner-take-all match and being first time ever making history, solidifying my name in the books. Dude, it doesn't get bigger than that. It doesn't.
What's been the best gear that you've worn?
Oh, man. So I think the easy answer is the Black Lives Matter gear. But right up underneath it, dude, the old school Mewtwo gear, some of my favorite.
Who is your best friend in wrestling?
It's a guy, his name is Jerome Daniel Griffey. He is a professional wrestler on the Indies out of Texas. And, when it comes to entertainment, there's not a lot of people you can trust, but I've known this guy since 2008. And he is one of my 2 closest friends right now.
And finally, who has the best locker room banter in WWE?
Ooh. Oh, goodness. That's probably Shane Thorne, if I'm being honest. The guy's ridiculous and hilarious. He's an awesome dude. Awesome dude.
So that's the Simple the Best feature. Thanks for doing that, Keith. And finally, I've got one more question for you before we let you go back to the sunny weather of Orlando. Could you take us through the story of when you were signed for WWE, from the moment when you first heard there was interest right through to you signing the contract?
So, I could. It's a complicated story because I was actually considering going to another company at the time. And when I expressed it to the people that I was under contract with at the time, and on the verge of dissolving that contract in order to move forward with this other company, not even 2 hours later, WWE calls me. And I had heard that they were interested, but I hadn't talked to anybody until that moment. And then it kind of became a back and forth thing until I kind of thought things over and had meetings here and there, and then I had a conversation with my father, and it was just a lot of, I want to say, brainstorming and kind of finding the pros and cons to all the circumstances. And at the end of the day, I decided to take this leap, and I feel pretty confident about it.
And then just a final question, just something that I'm quite interested in. Obviously, you first appeared on screen NXT TakeOver Chicago, I think it was. The crowd's going absolutely mental. Twitter, again, is blowing up. How does that make you feel to be so well loved by the WWE Universe?
I'm just unfortunate, man, because I think that myself and Matt Riddle were kind of the last 2 that really got that kind of response from being in a crowd. And I think that that's a credit to the professional wrestling world that we've traveled around. Our time in Europe, whether it be the UK or Ireland or any other country there, and the traveling we've been around here, and it just kind of, those connections to the fans really made a difference for us. And I think that for me personally, it was extremely special because I had no idea what to think. I'm like, man, look, these guys are like, man, who the heck is that guy? What's this guy doing in the crowd right now? But instead, it was a real special moment, and it was super touching, man. Those things right there are the things that inspire me and kind of motivate me to keep doing what I'm doing and do my best to be a positive factor for the same people that are being that for me.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Keith. Thank you for joining us here on Sport Wrestling. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next video.